Listeners, hopefully you are fine. Today we discuss about the physics, what is the physics, about the benefits in it, how in a daily life will be used, and about the causes of the physics will be make to implementations in our in daily life and make the other worlds will be happening as per the as globe. Okay, we will discuss the ancient astronomy. The astronomy is one of the oldest natural sciences, early civilization dating back before the 3000 BC, such as the Sumerians, ancient Egyptians, and the Indus Valley civilization had a predictive knowledge and a basic awareness of the motions of the sun, moon, and stars. The stars and the plants we believe or they represent gods, what we often worship, while the explanations for the observed position of the stars were we often unscientific and lacking in evidence. These early observations led to the foundation for the later astronomy. According to the S.G. Aboi, the origins of the Western astronomy can be found by the Mesopotamia and will be Western efforts of the exact sciences are descendant from the Babylonian astronomy. Natural philosophy has the origin in Greece during the archaic period like 650 BCE to 480 BCE, when the pre-Socratic philosophers like the Thales rejected the naturalization explanations for the natural phenomena and proclaimed that every event in the natural cases. Medieval European Islamic, the Western Roman Empire fell in the 15th century and it will be resulted in a decline in intellectual pursuit with the western part of the Europe by the contact by the Eastern Roman Empire. In 6th century, the European Jones philosophers, a Byzantine scholar, questioned the Aristotle teaching of the physics and noted at the flaws, introducing the theory of the impetus. Aristotle physics was not by the scrutinized until the philosophers appeared. Philoponus' criticism on the Aristotelian principles of the physician served as the inspirations of the Galileo Galilei 10 centuries later. During the scientific revolution, the Galileo cited Philoponus subsequently in the works where the organized Australian physics was flawed in 1300 Jean Bourdin. Classical physical became the separate sciences when the early modern Europeans used the experimental and the quantitative methods to discover what we now consider to be the laws of the physics. Major developments in this period include the replacement of the geocentric model of the solar system with the heliocentric Sumerian model, laws governing the motions of the planet bodies. Modern Modern physics became the early 20th century with the work of the Max Planck as a quantum theory of the Albert Einstein theory of the relativity. Both of these theories will become out due to the incongruities in the classical mechanism. In certain situations, classical mechanics predicted the varying speed of the light, which cloud not be resolved with the consist of the speed predicted by the Maxwell equations of electromechanism. These discoveries will be corrected by the Einstein theory of the special relativity. Quantum mechanics would become to be pioneered by the Werner Heisenberg, Erwin Schrödinger, and Paul Dirac. From this early work and work in the related field, the standard model of the practical physics was derived. Philosophy. In many ways, the physics stems from the ancient Greek philosophy from Thales' first attempt to characterize the matters, Democritus' deduction by the matters out the reduced to the invariant state. Core theories through physics deals with a wide variety of the systems. Certain theories are used by the all physicists. Each of these theories was experimentally tested numerous times and found to be adequate approximately to the nature. Classical thought, like classical physics, will be include the traditional branches and topics that were recognized and were developed by the beginning of for the 20th century. Classical mechanism are acoustics and optics, thermodynamics and electromagnetism. Classical mechanics is concerned with the bodies actuated by the forces, and the bodies will be in motion and may be divided into statics. Modern classical physics is generally concerned with the matters and the energy of the normal scales of the observation, while much of the modern physics is concerned with the behavior of the matter and the energy under the extreme condition or on the very large or very small scale. For example, atomic and the nuclear physics study matters of the smallest scale in which chemical elements can be identified. The two shapes, basically if we discuss about the two chief theories of the modern physics present the different pictures of the concept of the space, times and matter from that presented in the classical physics. Fundamental concepts in the modern physics like causality, covariance, action, physical field, symmetry, physical interaction, statistical ensemble, quantum wave and particulars difference. While physics aims to discover the universal laws and the theories will be exploited by the domains of the approximately loosely speaking, the laws of the classical physics accurately describe the system whose important length scales are greater than the atomic scales and whose motions are much slower than the speed or light of the outside of the domain. Relations of the other field like a prerequisite mathematics provide the compact and the exact languages used to describe the order in a nature. This way noted in the advocate by the Pythagoras and the Plato's, Claudius and the Newton's. Physics uses the mathematics are organized by the formulaic experiment result from those results precise and estimated solutions are obtained or quantitative result from which new predictions can be made by the experimentally confirmed and negated. Ontology is the prerequisite for the physics but not for the mathematics. It means the physics is ultimately concerned with the descriptions of the real world while mathematics is concerned with the abstract patterns even beyond the real world. Thus physics statements are the synthetic. If we discuss about the applications and the influences, applied physics is a general terms of the physics research which will be intended for the particular uses, and applied physics is curriculum usually contains a few classes in the applied discipline. In a research from scientific method, physics use the scientific methods to test the validity of the physical theory by the using medical like a methodology approach to the compared to the implementations of the theory will be a conclusions drawn from the release experiment and observation. Physicists are the better able to test with the validity of the theory in the logical, unbased and repeatable way. To that the end experiment are the performed to observation are the made in order to determine the validity of invalidity of the theory. Theory and the experiment. Theorists seek to develop mathematical models that both agree with the existing experiment and successfully predict with the future experimental results, while experimental device and perform experiments to the test theoretical predictions and explore new phenomena. Although theory and the experiment are developed by the spirit to the strongly affected by the wonder, each progress in the physics frequently comes about the experimental result of the explanations by the existing theory. The scope of the aims. Physics cover wide range of the phenomena and from elementary particles such as quarks, neutrons and electrons to the largest superclusters of the galaxies, including these phenomena are the most basic objects composing all their things. Therefore, physics is sometimes called the fundamental sciences. Physics aims to be describe the various phenomena that occur in the nature in terms of the simple phenomenon. A research field like contemporary research in the physics can be broadly divided into nuclear and practical physics, condensed matter physics, atomic, molecular and optical physics, astrophysics. In the field nuclear and quantum physics, so if we discuss about subfield like nuclear physics, nuclear astrophysics, practical physics, astrophysics and practical physics and phenomenal. And major theories like Stanford model, quantum field theory, quantum electrodynamics, quantum chromodynamics, electroweak theory, effective field theory, lattice field theory, Ricard theory, supersymmetry, grand unified theory, and superstring theory. My M theory adds by CFT correspondence. Nuclear and practice. Practice physics is the study of the elementary constituents of the matter and energy and the interaction between them. In addition, practice physics design and developed by the high energy accelerators, detectors and the computer programs necessary for the research. The field is also called the high energy physics because many elementary particles do not occur naturally but created only during high energy collisions of their practice. Atomic, molecular and optical. Atomic, molecular and optical physics is basically the study of the matter. The like matter is the interaction on the scales of the single atoms of the molecules. The three areas are grouped together because of their interpretations. The similarity of the methods use the commonly of their elementary energy scales. All three areas include both classical, semi-classical and quantum treatments. Condensed matter. Condensed matter physics is the field of the physics that deals with the macroscopes and physical properties of the matter. In particular, it is the concern with the condensed phases that appear whenever the numbers of the particles in the system extremely large in the interaction between them are strong. Current research is a physics is continually progressing on the large numbers of fronts. In considered matter physics, in important unsolved theoretical problem that is a high temperature superconductivity. Many condensed matters experiment are aiming to fabricate workable spintronics and quantum computers. These complex phenomena have received a growing attention since the 1970s for several reasons, including the availability of the modern mathematical methods and a computer which enable complex systems to be modeled in the new ways. Complex physics has become the part of the increasingly interdisciplinary research at the experimentally by the study of the turbulence in the aerodynamics and the observations of the pattern formations. In biological system in 1932 annual review of the fluid mechanics, Horace Lamb said, I am the old man now, and when I die and go to the heaven, there are two matters on which I hope to the enlightenment. One is the quantum electrodynamics and the other is turbulent motions of the fluids, and about the former I am rather optimistic. Hopefully you like my articles. If you like my articles, listeners, you can subscribe my channel. I will further assist you for the new type of motto in this world. Okay, goodbye.